Everyone, and welcome to A Squared B Creative World tutorial. Today we are going to be learning how to make this mesh turban. This is mesh material. And I'm going to be lining it with O Baby material. This is O Baby. So if you are going to be lining a fabric, you can see this one is stretchy, and the one I'm going to be using underneath it too is stretchy. So you must use a stretchy fabric to line a stretchy fabric. You can use lycra, you can use any other material to line it, but I prefer to use this O Baby. So for the measurement of my cap, I have here the length of the cap is 21 inches. Can you see? I added 1 inch for allowance. I'm supposed to use 20 inches, but I added 1 inch for allowance. So the edge circumference of my fabric, I'm going to cut in. I cut this O Baby and the net the same measurement. Hope you can see they are equal. Everything is equal. So I cut it the same measurement. I have 21 inches here, and on the head circumference side, that is the place that is stretchy. Please, somebody is asking me, anywhere that must be your head circumference must be stretchy, unless you want to make a turban that has elastic or that has hand. In that case, you have to add to your measurement. So for my head circumference here, I'm using 28 inches. I'm leaving allowance. I don't want it to be too small. I'm leaving allowance for turning it, and then I don't want my work to be too small. And then for my band, this is my band. I cut the same measurement as the O Baby. I cut the net the same measurement as the O Baby. So here's what I did. This is my band measurement, which is 12 inches, and the length of my band is 4.5 by 12 inches. 4.5 width by 12 inches length. If I open it up, I would have 24 inches. I hope you understand. 24 inches. If I close it up, 12 inches. So that's the measurement of my band. So the first thing I'll do now is I'll place my band like this. Place the O Baby on top. I'll make sure the shiny side is coming outside. Wherever I want to be outside, I will make sure my shiny side is outside. So I'll get my office pins. And hold this down. I want to hold this down. I hope you can see it. I want to hold it down. I'll fold it together like this. I'm going to be using a lot of pins so as to get the correct, what do they call it? I'm going to be holding this. You have to be careful when you are working with mesh, because mesh is somehow tricky. It's not the same as other fabrics. It's somehow tricky. Even the way of body pleating it is different. You have to be careful while working with it. So after pinning this, I want to notch the midpoint of this. I'll just take my scissors and notch the midpoint. Or I can use my chalk to mark the midpoint of the band. Then I'm also going to mark the midpoint of the body of the cap. So to mark my midpoint, I can mark it separately or I can mark it together. Let me mark this separately. Let me just notch. Then I can as well notch this too. So for me to line the body of my cap, I'll place this like this. And then I'm going to place this way, notched part to notched part. I'm going to make sure that the shiny side is facing me up. The shiny side of this is facing me. I'm going to make sure that the shiny side of the old baby is facing me, so that when I finish turning it, look at what I'm trying to say. When I turn it, it will come like this. When I turn it, the shiny side will now be like this here. So I will make sure the shiny side is facing me up. I'm sorry for the interruption. So I'll make sure the shiny side is facing me up. So what I'll do next is I'm going to pick up my band that I notched. I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to be pinning it well. I'll pin it well. I don't want this video to be longer, so I will try to shorten it as much as I can. What's wrong with this pin? I'm trying to hold this down so that it won't be difficult for me to sew on my sewing machine. So this is the marked point. This is the notched part. I'll open this up. I'll fix it in the middle like this. I'll cover it up with the old baby. Then I'm going to take it to my sewing machine and I will sew round. I'll sew round this. I am going to leave a space of about 2 to 3 inches, maybe at the side or at the back. Then it is that space that I'm going to use to turn it inside out. Let me go and do that. I have finished sewing it, and then I'm going to trim it. Trimming is very important. Trimming is very, very important, so that you won't have bulk after turning it. Trimming is very, very important. So I'm going to trim this excess off. Remember I said I'm going to leave a space. I trimmed it on the 4 corner. I didn't trim only this place. I trimmed the other sides too. I did those off camera. So this is the band area that I'm trimming. That's why you see that it's very thick. So I left a space that I'm going to use to turn it inside out. Look at my space, just like a 3-inch space. So I'm going to turn it inside out now, and I'm going to show you the next step. So this is what I get after turning it inside out. Look at it. You can see the shiny side of the old baby fabric is shining through the holes of the mesh fabric. So after doing this, this is the next thing I'll do. I'll pick up my tape rule and my chalk. I don't know if it's going to show, but before I do, let me just measure this and show you the results. So this is 26 inches. You can see. That's why I used 28 inches at the beginning. 27 inches at the front. 27 inches at the front. So after doing this, the next thing I will do is I will take my chalk. I'll take my chalk, and then I'm going to start marking. I have something to correct here. This one is not going inside. So I will make sure that I close this up. Please don't forget this. I will just fold it in a little like this. I will sew on it. So I'll just pick my chalk and my tape rule. I'll start measuring from 2 inches, like you want to do a normal body pleat. I'll start measuring like this. 2 inches, 4 inches. That's 2 inches interval. 6 inches, 8 inches, 10 inches, 12 inches, 14 inches, 16 inches, then 18 inches. So on that 2-inch interval, I will mark it on this side and on this side too. I'm going to sew on top of it. Please get me right. I will sew a straight line from 2 inch here, down here, 2 inch here, down here, 2 inch here, down here, 2 inch here, down here. So here's my result. I've sewn it on the 2-inch line. So the next thing I'll do now is I'll take this to my sewing machine again. On this 2-inch line, that's where I'll hold it and body pleat it. Can you see my line? So I'll fold it like this. On the 2-inch line, I'll body pleat it. I have done this so I can be able to hold the mesh, because if I don't sew on top of it like this, if I try to body pleat, it won't go in. Some part of the mesh will be coming up. So as I have sewn it like this, can you see the lines of my sewing from here? As I've sewn it like this, I will just take it to my sewing machine, fold it in at the sewn line, and then I'll body pleat it. I'll body pleat it all through. So after body pleating my fabric, this is what I get. Look at the left side, look at the right side. So because I sew on the fabric before body pleating it, I was able to achieve a perfect pleat. You can see, if I didn't sew on it at first, this net won't easily go in. So after body pleating it, I'll do the final finishing. I'll close it up right here. I'll close it up. From here, I will measure the 11-inch band. From right here, I'll measure 11-inch, and then I will sew this. I will close it. I'll close it up, and then we can gather. We can gather with our thread, our needle and thread. So you can see I've body pleated this. You can see it. After body pleating it, I have something around 14 inches. You can see it must not be less than 14 inches after body pleating. Your band and a body must not be less than 14 inches. It can be 15 or 14 inches, but it must not be less than 14 inches, so it can contain more air. So the next thing I'll do now is I have my net cut out in a circle. So I've already cut this circle out, but I will try to explain. I just fold my clothes into 4 pieces like this, and then I measure out whatever I want to use for the circle. I measure it out like this. This is 4.5. This circle is cut 4.5 round. 4.5, you can see it. 4.5. So I cut it round. If I open it up this way, I have 9 inches. Look at it. I have 9 inches here, and I have 9 inches on the other side too. So the second net will not be as big as this. I will reduce this. It will not be as big as the first one. So I have 8 inches. Just 1 inch less. 1 inch less, please. 1 inch less. So I have 8 inches and 9 inches. That is when I open my circle up. It is a circle. It is a circle. So I will just fix my needle and thread, and then I'm going to make my bow. This is the embellishment I'm going to be putting on top of my bow. So let me finish. Let's make this. Let's close this up and body pleat it so we can round it up. So after closing it up, you can see from the 11 inches here, I sew, and then I came down like this. I sew, and then I close it up. So I'm going to be gathering my turban now. I will gather from the front. So if I want to gather from the front, I'll start my gather from here, the midpoint here. Look at the midpoint. I'll put my needle in through here. You can see I'll put it in back. Please, I use the shoemaker thread to gather my turbans. I feel they are more stronger than the normal thread. I use the shoemaker thread. Just tell them any leather shop or building materials that you want to buy the shoemaker thread. So I'll target the middle of the cap. I'm targeting the middle. Look at it, the midpoint. I'll gather this hook at the midpoint. the middle, and then this is the last one. And I'm going to tie this. I'm going to drag it and tie it. I'm going to tie it here, and then I'm going to gather the downside too. If you are using this thread, you have to bond the edges, because after cutting it you have rough edges. I don't know where my lighter is. I will bond them later. I'll just use my lighter to bond this edge so that this thread will not lose. So I'm going to do the same thing to the back. I'm going to gather the back too. I'll gather the back. You can see where I gathered. I did not gather up to the band. I just gathered only down here. So I'm going to tie this also. I'll tie this and cut off the excess. I'll use my lighter to bond the edges off later. I told you that. I'll use my lighter to bond the edges. So my cap is ready. I'll just turn it to the right side, and this is what I have. This mesh is a very light fabric, very light as in, even after making it, you wear it on your head, you won't feel as if you're wearing something. You can see the way I gathered the front. This is the front and this is the back. You can see the beauty of the turban. Beauty is already showing. So I'll place this aside. Then my two circles, remember I told you 9 inches and 8 inches. I have my this thing ready. I have my blue thread on the needle already. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to get the midpoint of each circle. Look at me. This is the midpoint of each circle. I'm going to gather. I don't know how you can carefully do your own. I'm going to gather carefully. I'm going to carefully gather at the midpoint. I'll carefully gather at the midpoint. You can use chalk to mark your own. I had chalk when I started this class, but I don't know where my children dropped it now. And I can't allow that to delay me. You can use chalk to mark it at the middle. Then you carefully gather at the middle, the midpoint of the circle. This is the 9 inches. When I'm through with this, I will continue. I will do the same thing on the 8 inches too. Here's what I have. Look at it. So I can decide to tie this. This is what I have. You can decide to reduce the length of your own circle. As my own circle is 9 inches and 8 inches, you can decide to use 8 inches and 7 inches. But I like to use this 9 inches and 8 inches for my circle. I like to use this measurement. So I'll just cut this. I'll do the same thing to the second circle. Let me do the second circle off camera so the video won't be too long. Done so to the second one. And then I'm going to place it on the first one and tack together. I'll tack them together. I'll take it in through here. Make sure my tackings is still on the middle. So here's what I have. After tacking this together, then I'm going to place it on my cap. I'm going to place it on my cap. You can see it. So the next thing is to place, you can decide to place your turban on your mannequin head so you can see the position you want to place your flower. So I can decide to place it here or here. So let me place it here. This is the midpoint. You can see the midpoint of the turban. So look at the midpoint. This is the midpoint. So I'll make sure that this covers the midpoint, just a little lower from the midpoint. Look at the position. So I'm going to tack this inside. I'll tack it to the turban. So I've already marked where I want to tack it to. So I'm going to tack it now. Don't let me delay. Oh, shh. Don't let me make the video longer. I make sure I do my own tackings well. I make sure I do my tackings well. So I have my hot glue gun. I have it already plugged. I'm going to be using the hot glue gun on the surface of this of the applique. If I wanted to use UHU gum, it won't be fast. But the hot glue gun is very fast. So I'll just be applying it on the, when the thing is hot now, I'll apply it here, and then I'm going to fix it on top of the midpoint of the turban. So I'm going to put it on the mannequin so that you can see the final result. Please, if you are watching this on my YouTube channel, it won't take you anything, just a click. Subscribe, like, tell me how I did. Is my videos, are they okay? Comment. If you have questions, ask, I'll answer them. Thank you very much for watching.